So hello, how are you all doing?
Pretty good.
Good.
Okay, good.
Okay. So I know we met last week. We had kind of talked about some of the presenting problems that had brought you all to therapy, and sort of assess the situation. And so today, what I like to do is just go in depth some more into what you all feel like the issues are and what has brought you to therapy and what you all would like to get out of therapy. And so what I like to do is sort of a structural family therapy. And basically what I'll be doing is asking you all some questions about what your responsibilities are, what you feel they are, what kind of roles you all play, and what kind of things you all would like to see change. Does that sound like that's something you might like to do? What do you think, Alice?
Sure.
Okay. All right. And so last time we had talked about Debbie and Robert, you all had mentioned that you had some trouble getting Alice to wake up in the morning and kind of doing some chores around the house. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. And Alice, you had mentioned to me that you didn't feel like your parents listened to you and didn't communicate with you very well, and you've had a lot of anger inside. Is that right?
Sure.
Okay. When you told me you had anger inside, can you describe that to me a little more?
Anger, like mad, upset. When people get on my nerves, ask me the same question, or ask me to do something when you know I don't want to do it, Robert. Just stuff like that.
Okay.
That's a new thing she's been doing is she doesn't refer to us as mom and dad anymore.
Yeah, that bothers me. That he doesn't call me by my name, which is Dad.
Yeah. Why don't you call me by mom and dad?
Do we really have to get into this right now?
We don't have to if you don't want to explore that right now.
Okay, let's skip that.
Okay. Would you prefer to talk about maybe some ways to manage the anger or make you feel better?
If my parents stop telling me what to do all the time.
Like what kind of things they ask you to do?
Get up, go to school, do your laundry, do the dishes, be quiet, stop talking, call me dad, call me mom. Just tell me something to do every second of the day.
Yeah. Do you feel like some of those things are responsibilities that you should have?
But it doesn't mean I'm not going to do them.
Okay. So is it the way they ask you to do it?
Everything's on their time.
Okay. So maybe you don't feel like you get your own time.
I live my life by what they tell me to do.
And mom and dad, how do you feel about that?
I don't think that she would do it if we didn't ask her to. Because
She doesn't even give me a chance to do it.
Whenever you haven't woken up for school, whenever you're supposed to, that would be your chance.
But I'm going to wake up for school. I'm just not going to be there on the time I'm supposed to be there.
Because we have to ask multiple times for her to wake up. I mean, if she would do it, then we wouldn't be asking her.
Okay.
And then that starts everybody's day on the wrong foot because we're yelling and screaming at each other because you don't want to wake up. And yeah, like you said, you wouldn't be at school on time. And guess what? Then you get tardies.
But does the yelling and screaming work?
Well, no. And I guess that's why we're here, because it's not working.
So Alice, what do you think would happen if your parents didn't continue to ask you to wake up for school?
I don't know, because it's never happened.
Do you think you would get up on your own, or do you think you would be continually late?
No, I'd probably get up alone.
Mom, Dad, do you think that maybe that'd be something you would be open to trying? Just asking one time for Alice to get up, and then giving Alice time to get up to see if she does it on her own.
I would like to try it once, just to see if it works.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
anything more than once, I think, is just going to be her getting what she wants, and I'm not feeding into that.
Okay. And so part of what I was wanting to do, though, that I had talked about earlier, is asking each of you what some of your responsibilities are. Like, for instance, Mom, what is day-to-day activity or day-to-day life like for you?
I guess, my days are different depending on what's going on, but for the most part, I wake up before everybody else, and I'll start breakfast, and then after breakfast is ready is usually about the time I'm trying to get her to get up and get ready. And then Robert's getting up and he's getting ready for work, and he usually eats breakfast with us. She usually never makes it to breakfast. And then I will run errands, clean house, things like that. I stay home. I don't work.
Okay.
So I manage the household for the most part,
Okay.
doing the dishes and laundry and everything like that. And then Robert works full time. He works quite a bit.
Okay. So, does anyone help you out around the house at all? Or help you maybe cook a meal or anything?
Not as often as I would like.
Okay.
Yeah, you didn't say that. You said, do they help? I help.
You do some chores around the house?
Yes.
Okay. What kind of things do you do, Alice?
What she tells me to do. She may have to tell me to do it, but I do it.
Okay. What kind of things would you like to do instead of what you're doing?
I mean, it's not the fact that I don't like doing them. It's the fact that it's kind of like when someone it's like an alarm clock that you press snooze on and it keeps going off and it's like broken and it doesn't stop.
Mm-hmm.
It's constant, like reminder. Like, I know I have to do it. I'm going to do it. Just give me some time.
Okay.
And she doesn't allow it. She doesn't even give me the chance.
Okay, so Alice, what I hear Alice saying, Mom, is that she wouldn't mind doing the tasks, except that maybe she could do them on her own without so much asking of her. So, what are some ways that we could remedy that? Like, could we create just a chart or a list for Alice and maybe put it on the fridge, and then when she does it, she could just go check it off? Would that be something that you all would feel comfortable doing?
If she's in agreement with doing that.
What do you feel like?
Sure.
If that won't work for you, we can definitely think
It's
of
fine.
other things to do.
It's fine.
Okay. Okay. Well, we can come back to that later. And Dad, what is your day-to-day life like?
Well, I just, get up in the morning and have breakfast with Debbie, and then I go to work like 8 hours, so I come back. I actually don't help around the house as much because I'm always working. So when I get home, I'm tired and I just don't do anything.
Yeah. What about on your days off? Do you help around the house at all?
Actually, not much. I just try to rest when I'm off work, and
Okay.
maybe that's something, I don't know, that probably needs to get better. But I have to say I don't help around
Okay.
on the weekends.
Okay. Alice, tell me what your day-to-day life is like.
Wake up, go to school, come home, do homework, and maybe hang out with friends, do some whatever school stuff, and that's about it. Get ready for bed and do the same thing the next day, including some chores and stuff like that.
Okay. Okay. So, what would you all of you, like to see happen? What changes would you like to see happen?
I guess for Alice to just, try to help more around the house, and like whenever we talk to her, like for her to be like more respectful towards, us, because we're her parents, and like she called us by our names. So what is that? How would people feel? Like if you're in the street and she's like, "Oh, Debbie, Robert."
He's telling me to help around the house when he goes to his work for 8 hours a day, doesn't do anything around the house. I go to school for a good 6-7 hours out of the day and do school activities, but then I'm getting nagged at. He's not getting nagged at. Why? Because he made breakfast.
No,
'Cause
because
he
he's
got it.
providing for you.
Yes,
We
I'm
would
going
have
to
no
work,
breakfast.
Alice. I'm making the money so
What
that you
example
have
are
everything
you
that
showing
you
me,
need.
Father? Father.
I probably need to work on that, but I do go to work for 8 hours a day.
Okay, so let's put a hold on there. Okay. So it's good you all are communicating. Okay. I think if you all are open to this, I think what we're going to develop on over the next week is some ways to address this. And as Alice said, she's willing to do, as she says, she's willing to do some things around the house if she can do those independently. Is that right, Alice?
Yes.
Okay. So that's going to be Alice's homework for next week. is she will write down what chores she has to do, and she's going to do those on her own. Okay? And then for Robert, maybe Robert can think of some things that he can do to help around the house or help Debbie maybe on his day off. And then also for you, Debbie and Robert, what I would like you all to do is to sit down and write out some rules. Because there's no consequences, no rules when it comes to the family here. And so if you could sit down and think of some specific rules and a consequence for each one and enforce those over the next week. And we'll kind of see how that goes, and you all can let me know if that's worked, if it didn't work. How do you feel about that?
I mean, I'm willing to try anything. I don't know how it's going to work, but I mean, I'm willing to give it a shot. If everybody else is,
yeah, I'm willing to
follow through.
And then I would also like for each of you to try to listen to each other and validate each other's feelings, and try to do that in a respectful and positive way. Each one of you. If someone is upset or is feeling like, they're being left out or whatever the situation is, just tell that person, validate their feelings in a respectful way over the next week and see how that goes. Would that be okay with everybody?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, because the communication, you all are communicating, is just not in a very positive way, and we want to try to increase the communication positively. And I know Alice has mentioned sometimes she feels like she's not heard. Is that right,
What is
Alice?
it that you want us to hear you say? Because I hear what you're saying most of the time, but it's usually just you complaining or not wanting to do what you're supposed to do.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Y'all nag and complain all the time. There's nothing ever positive. It's always, you didn't do this, you didn't do that, you didn't make breakfast, you didn't wake up, I had to wake you up, I had to tell you, I had to remind you to do this. I'm providing for the family. That's why I don't have to do anything around the house. It's always negative things directed to me instead of, okay, maybe I didn't wake up the first time that she came and knocked on my door. But by Jiminy, I got up that second time. So why not say, well, I'm glad that you got up the second time instead of the fifth time this morning. Or glad that you did the dishes at 6 o'clock even though I wanted them done at 4. But no. Although I do it, but not on her times, she complains. But yet she says, I complain. Well, I guess I'm learning from the best.
So I guess you're saying that you want us to, thank you for doing those things?
Do you think strangers, when they open up the door for you and stuff?
Yes, but also, Alice, you have a responsibility to help around the home.
Okay. I think what I hear Alice saying here is that she gets a lot of negative feedback, and maybe she would like some more positive feedback. So if we could pick out, if Alice gets up for school, for instance, this week, we're only going to tell her once. So if Alice gets up on her own after that, maybe you can give her a positive comment. Thank you. You did such a good job getting up for school all by yourself. And maybe give her some of those during the week instead of just the negative feedback. And then Alice, when you address your parents and they give you the positive feedback, maybe you can say, thanks, Mom. Thanks, Dad. What do you think about that?
We can give it a try.
We can try that this week?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And if we're going to talk about that, we also need to talk about her disrespecting us by not calling us Mom and Dad anymore.
Okay.
I mean, if you expect us to do these things, then we expect you to respect us as your parents and call us by our names, because I know good and well you only started doing that to bother us and hurt us.
So I think we have quite a few things we're working on over the next week. And so let's just go with that. And then if you give Alice a positive comment, maybe Alice will return that with a respectful comment as well. But for now, let's work on what we have, what we've kind of set up over the next week, and then we'll see how everything goes. And when we meet next time, you can tell me if it worked or what didn't work. Is that okay with everyone? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I will see you all next week.
Okay.
Thank you.
Awesome.
I don't know what that means. I'm hoping it recorded.
The light's still on.
It's still recording, I think.
We'll figure a way to
How
cut
many
it out.
minutes was
It was like almost 15. It was 14.
I had my thing and I was thinking, I was like, oh, we need to keep going.
It was 14 minutes.
Well,
That was, to me, it was pretty
14.
good.
but she said if you.
I
As
think
long as it's not 10 minutes.
Well, if I
She said 8.
What?
Yeah, it's still recording.